मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग जुड़ते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
Hello everyone, this is Shweta and welcome to the Climapreneur Show. The Climapreneur Show, episode 1. The Climapreneur Show is about climapreneurs. It's about entrepreneurs driving climate action. It's about their journeys. It's about their stories. Just imagine you're truly passionate about something. I would say, you see a problem, you develop a solution. But the path, I think, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to develop a solution for a problem. And how these guys did it, it's inspirational. How they overcome their struggles, how they won their battles, their little milestones, their little victories, and it's all about them. So yes, I these people really inspire me. These people really motivate me, and their stories are like amazing. And so today we have on our show Anupriya Nayyar. Anupriya, she's a founder of Harvest. Anupriya is someone who has turned a challenge into an opportunity, someone who has turned the residual crop waste into drinkwares. Isn't that amazing? Like, wow. And as I repeat her own words, in a world full of caterpillars, be a butterfly. It pays to be original. It pays to be yourself. Definitely, you would attract some criticism because your choices would be different. So now it's the time to welcome our special guest, Miss Anupriya Nayyar. Welcome to the Climapreneur Show, Anupriya. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Shweta. It's indeed a pleasure to be on your show.
So to start with, would like to tell what is Harvest and what is it about?
Definitely. So, as you're aware, we launched Harvest, our latest brand, as a lockdown project. So, we are running a company called Stallion Barware, which you very well can call as the parent company of our sustainability lockdown project called Harvest. And Stallion is around 6 years old. It has been making designer unbreakable drinkware, which are indeed loved by people who are loyal to Stallion and who keep looking forward to new and newer products that we make. Now, our team was intending to build together a platform or an offering which is also sustainable at heart. Somewhere in our mind and our heart, we were all very keen to put together something that ensures that it is made by us and it is used by many people whose heart beats the environment.
Wow.
And that's how Harvest came into being. So within our team, we call Harvest as a way of life. A way of life to bring about Indian farms practically to your tables. And how do we do that? We actually collect the residual crop waste from Indian farmers. For example, you're aware that rice is grown in north of India. Right? So a lot of husk is left with the farmers after the rice is harvested. Similarly, coffee is grown in south of India and a huge lot of coffee husk is left with farmers in Bangalore and the farms around the area. Similarly, places where, let's say, Nagpur has a lot of oranges and orange peels lead to a lot of waste when orange juice is being extracted, and all these crop waste, whether it's peels, whether it's husk, the only way that the farmers know to dispose it off so that they clear their fields for harvest, for the next harvest, is to burn it. And once that crop waste is burnt, we all know that the only thing that it leads to is air pollution. Right? In fact, you'd be aware that a major source of air pollution in north of India is not due to vehicles but due to crop waste burning. So this is precisely what led us to create a brand which not only makes designer drinkware, but also makes drinkware that is sustainable enough and that feels great every single time you hold it in your hands.
Indeed, crop burning is a huge challenge, and it's kind of commendable the way you've turned this challenge into an opportunity. Like, seriously, it's commendable. How do you feel about developing a solution, because you are really a kind of a solution bearer who has turned a challenge into an opportunity? How do you feel about being a contribution?
So it definitely feels great. I would call that feeling blessed because somewhere I feel a lot of entrepreneurs end up having a lot of ideas, but they feel that, oh, I wasn't at the right place at the right time. I didn't come across the right set of people.
Yes.
Right? Somewhere we feel blessed enough to have come across the right set of farmers who wanted to partner with us, the right set of extruders who were ready to convert the material for us in a way that we could mold it. We had the right set of setup and machinery with us for having had a background in this space. So, you know how they say that मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग जुड़ते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
Wow, that's beautiful. We really need people like you, because I really feel that for climate action you need that intent to be the solution bearer, and there are endless opportunities, as you said. So what is the one thing that keeps you going? I'm sure you might have your own challenges and everything going on. So what is that one thing that gives you the courage to overcome all the challenges and just keep going?
So, in one line, I think it is the mission to change the world one cup at a time. Our entire team is pretty much on the same page in terms of whether it's a big inquiry, somebody is asking for 1,000 plus cups kind of an inquiry, or is it that a particular consumer is only wanting to buy 2 cups and is asking us something. We try to give them the same amount of attention to make them aware of what we are doing.
It's really beautiful, actually. But how did you come up with this idea in the first place? Taking this waste and converting it into, say, the cups that you're creating.
Right. So, as I shared with you, we've been running Stallion Barware for quite some time now, and it's been amazing the kind of feedback and the kind of love that we've got from the Indian consumers. Every single package that goes out from our Stallion Barware factory has written on it "Made in India proudly." Right? And by, as much pride we take in making it, we started realizing consumers are taking a pride in using them. That, oh wow, yes. I got a set of drinkware that's made in India proudly. So while we are at it and we continue to work on Stallion, somewhere at the back of our minds, we also wanted to continue doing some R&D where the material also is made in India.
Okay.
Where we also solve a problem while making drinkware that is designer, drinkware that is functional, drinkware that is fashionable, but how about drinkware that is sustainable?
Yes.
So that's precisely how, after a series of R&D experiments and lots of thinking about and actually working with a lot of prototypes, early this year we had few pieces after a few trials that looked very rustic and earthy, and well, that pretty much came about being truly Indian at heart, from the raw material to where they were being made to where they were being used. It was all within India.
How have your vast range of experiences and skills, right from a 21-year-old, helped you at Harvest? Because I know that you have had quite an amazing journey.
Right. So this makes me realize I've aged a little bit. But definitely big time. So I'll tell you, we are 2 partners in this company. Nishit is one of the partners and I'm the second partner. We are both in fact partners in business and in life. And we both started our careers as management consultants with McKinsey and Company. And after that, Nishit ended up having some years of experience overseas. He went to work in Brazil and a few other places. After McKinsey, I ended up choosing to work with Deloitte India as a consultant. Then I had a little completely different spree of writing television shows for different entertainment channels in India. So when I look back, I realized that every little thing that we did in our early 20s and late 20s, which some of them were experiments, some of them did not turn into a career. But today, whenever we are making a decision or whenever we are doing something as small as adding a social media post or coming up with the next product to design, all of those early and late 20s experiences, they come together and they help us hugely and immensely in every single thing that we do. Right? I can give you a specific example of having this writing experience that I'd had of writing for television. So in television, you'd realize that viewers have a very limited attention span, right?
Yeah.
Either you connect with them in the first 10 seconds or they have hundreds of other channels to go to and flip about and tune off from what you're saying. Right? Now, whenever we are creating a product description or whenever we are writing our social media posts and messaging, it kind of helps us a lot to know what is it that the consumers would like to hear from us, right? First 10 seconds, what is it that they should know? The next 30 seconds, what is the information that would click with them? I probably wouldn't have had this kind of an insight had I not taken a little detour into the writing world and then come back to running a business.
So you would say that every experience, is unique and every experience counts at some point of time, because right now, I have talked to people and they're like very restless, ki we're not able to do what we want to do, or kind of feel it, that kind of feeling.
Oh yes, absolutely. So, whatever you can, wherever you can, in whichever possible way you can, as long as you're doing something. It could be just as simple as attending an art class. It could be just something as simple as probably going to a guitar learning session. If that's what your heart beats for and that is the best that you can do right now, I would encourage every 20-something person out there to just go for it and do it. It's only much later in hindsight when you look back that you realize that, oh, here's where this particular experience is coming from, and here's how it is adding value to me today.
Okay, so before starting, did you have any fears and how do you feel about them now? Because, a lot of entrepreneurs before they start, they have a lot of fears that it might work, it might not work. So did you have any of those fears before you started Harvest?
So absolutely yes. I mean, I think there's something wrong about an offering if your heart doesn't pound with fear before it goes out, right? Because it's not that the whole world thinks about a particular thing in the same way. In fact, no two people think about the same thing in the same way, right? So we were definitely jittery when we were putting it out there. For one big primary reason that when you look at the Harvest range, it looks very earthy, very rustic, right? And somewhere our insight into the Indian consumer was that most people like very colorful, very bling and bright looking products when it comes to their dinnerware and tableware, right? So we weren't sure if this whole simplicity idea of having something which qualifies as less is more. Would that kind of ideology ring a bell with people, right? Because the bigger thing here is that while these designs, they look nice, of course, and they feel very good for those who care for the environment, they also look pretty different from the classic, traditional kind of drinkware that we are used to. So definitely, it was a point that we definitely were quite unsure of, and it's only now after having lived through the lockdown project in the lockdown months that some beautiful feedback comes our way, and we are very confident that the harvest way of life definitely would catch on.
Do you think that the lockdown has added like some positive element to the harvest?
In a very large way, yes, because it kind of gives us this time to pause and think in terms of what a retail customer wants, right? Somewhere, because we come from this background of running a factory, a setup which is more, commercial and technical in nature. Sometimes it is very difficult to actually look at a product from the eyes of an end consumer. Right? So you need to actually step back and think how this product will fit into the lives of people who live in India. How would they perceive it? What kind of packaging would work with them? What kind of messaging would they want with their cup? So definitely lockdown has helped me and my team actually pause and sit back and give our products this special eye and ears, if I may say that.
Okay, so like, what was your feeling when you like first held the first mug in your hand, like when it came out?
So it was pretty amazing indeed. Since I'm a mom to a 3-year-old, I would say the feeling was of seeing your child ready for her first day for school. So you see a baby who's now all ready, all set, looking very different from how he or she is at home, right? All dressed up and ready to go a little away from you into the hands of the world, and they'll probably have different ways of looking at your baby or your child, right? That's precisely how it felt when we held the first cup in our hand.
So, like, what does climate action mean to you?
So, climate change and climate action definitely is something that needs attention from every single person on this planet, right? So, first of all, it means to me changing my view towards it, doing something that I, as an individual, as Anupriya Nayyar, can do towards it, right? Be it making small changes of, let's say, not plastic bags, moving to more bio-based products, trying to actually know about a product that I'm buying, right? Whether it is clothes, whether it is day-to-day products that we buy, whether it is food items. To me, it means to care enough so that we actually go to the source of things and incorporate every little change that we can. And as a business owner, I would say that's what we are encouraging. If today you ask me, Anupriya, where is this rice husk from? Which farmer did you procure it from? Right? To that level of detail, we'll be able to tell you that, okay, so this particular batch was bought from this particular farmer in this particular field, and it landed with us on this particular date, and it got turned into XYZ cup. So I personally feel climate action means taking charge of every action that you take in a way that you keep the planet at the center of all your actions.
Yes, so true. So my final 2 questions to you would be, first would be, one piece of advice that you would like to give your younger self.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. There are 2 things that come to my mind when you ask this question. One is to of course take your goals and your vision of what you want to do in life seriously, but to also enjoy the process. Right? Sometimes we just get completely lost in the fact that, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve this, I want to get this done and that done and that done. And as a result, months and years they pass by, and we just build a life which is extremely stressful. Yes. So I definitely would like to tell my younger self that, hey, you're supposed to smile more often. You're supposed to enjoy everything that you were doing and not only stress about what lies ahead in future.
Yes.
And
Say process is more important than destination.
no, absolutely, and it all lies in the journey, right? What I am
Yeah.
doing, like what was tomorrow is already today. So you don't
Yes.
even realize how soon you reach that future point that you were visualizing in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So another would be one piece of advice you would like to give to the youth out there.
Great question. In one line, if I have to answer it, I would say, in a world full of caterpillars, be a butterfly. It pays to be original. It pays to be yourself. Definitely, you would attract some criticism because your choices would be different. People might call you, being somebody who's an outlier or somebody who
Yeah.
doesn't conform with the regular ways of doing things. But when you grow a little bit more and you look back, you'd be proud of yourself.
Wow. You're right. Can agree on that 100%. Thank you, Anupriya. It's truly amazing to talk to people like you who have actually turned, challenges into opportunities. Like people always tell us, there are a lot of challenges, embrace them and turn them into opportunities. But seeing real life examples like you who have done that, like it's amazing. And I'm sure that, your story, your journey could help act as a bridge, I would say, to many people out there who are just waiting for that, that punch. Okay, let's take the first step. So I
And
hope the story leads to a lot of first steps and a lot of people continuing their journey.
I'm really glad, Shweta. I would just say that every little experience makes us learn a lot. This 20-minute interaction with you has made me learn so much. So I would encourage every single person out there to be a student of life and continue to enjoy life.
And yes, I'll definitely put the link to your product and I'm definitely waiting for mine. I'll order mine and let's see how it turns out to be. I'm so excited to hold that mug in my hand right now. And definitely I'm gonna put it with this so our listeners can also just try your amazing product.
That's really nice.
And maybe they can listen to your voice by sipping coffee in that mug.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'm already looking forward to it.
Thank you, Anupriya.
Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you so much.
So, my message today to the listeners will be: it is not going to be easy. It wasn't meant to be easy. You're going to meet failures on your part. People might not even trust you, but it is your responsibility to yourself to trust your journey, believe in yourself. And stay tuned for the next episode.